Hell's Kitchen had always been a dangerous place, but tonight there was a new kind of terror in the air. The streets were quieter than usual, unnervingly so, almost as if the city was holding its breath. People were disappearing, one by one, and the authorities were helpless. No one could explain why or how, but Daredevil could feel it in his bones. The danger was far worse than anything he'd encountered before. Something dark was festering beneath the surface, and he was about to get much closer to it than he ever wanted. It started with a tip, a call from a frightened informant telling Daredevil about a new strain of violence taking root in the heart of Hell's Kitchen. The disappearances were only the beginning. Something worse was brewing beneath the surface. Matt Murdock, in his alter ego as Daredevil, had already tracked down the source of the chaos, an underground lab where illegal experiments were being conducted. As he slipped past guards and through the dark corridors, his radar sense warned him of something wrong. There was a presence in the shadows, too close, too fast. And before he could react, a cold hand grabbed his arm. He twisted, but the force of the grip was unrelenting. The figure that lunged at him was no ordinary thug. It was a zombie, a grotesque, decaying corpse with twisted, red-rimmed eyes. Its teeth sank into Matt's side before he could react. Pain surged through his body, but not just any pain. This was something deeper, something darker. The zombie's bite felt almost contagious. Daredevil quickly fought off the creature, snapping its neck with his legs in a move so precise it would have been impressive if it wasn't for the sickening realization that the bite had landed. He touched his side, feeling the wetness of his own blood and something more, something chilling. His body burned with an unnatural heat, and his senses, his greatest gift, felt off. The blood didn't stop flowing, and there was an overwhelming sensation, like a fog clouding his thoughts. The infection was taking hold. As the hours passed, Daredevil struggled to keep his focus. The infection was spreading faster than he anticipated. His enhanced senses began to fluctuate, shifting in and out of focus. He could hear the faintest sounds, the tick of a clock across the city, but everything else was muffled. His vision, once sharp and precise, blurred at the edges, making it harder to navigate Hell's Kitchen. But worst of all, he could feel something dark inside him, a gnawing hunger. It wasn't like the usual need to fight for justice. No, this was primal. It was the kind of hunger that came from deep within, from a place of destruction, a hunger for flesh. Matt stumbled his way to Claire Temple's clinic, hoping against hope that his longtime ally could help. He could barely stand, his body trembling from the fever and the overwhelming urge to give in to the infection. "Claire," he gasped, barely able to speak, "I need help." Claire was quick to act, her eyes widening when she saw the state he was in. "Matt, what happened? You're burning up." "I've been bitten," he managed to explain through clenched teeth, his voice cracking. "I can feel it inside me. It's changing me." Claire immediately started running. Tests, but there was no denying it. Matt's body was fighting a losing battle against the zombie virus. His skin was pale, his heartbeat irregular, and his temperature rising dangerously. There was no cure in sight yet. "You need an antidote," Claire said urgently. "But it's not going to be easy to find. We need to track down the source of this outbreak." Foggy Nelson, Matt's best friend and legal partner, arrived at the clinic soon after, his eyes filled with worry when he saw the condition Matt was in. "What's happening to you, man?" "I'm turning into one of them," Daredevil whispered, his voice a mix of fear and determination. "But I won't let it happen. Not without a fight." The three of them, Matt, Claire, and Foggy, tracked down every lead they could. Claire's medical expertise and Foggy's relentless determination helped them dig deeper into the underground lab, uncovering a horrifying truth. The virus was artificially created in a twisted experiment aimed at turning people into controllable soldiers. But time was running out for Matt. Every minute that passed brought him closer to becoming a mindless zombie. He could feel his strength waning, his hunger growing. He began to lose control over his actions, his mind clouded by the instinct to feed. "Matt, you can't give in," Claire pleaded. "We're close, just hold on." The antidote was locked, away in a heavily guarded facility deep within the heart of the lab. The final push was all that remained, but Daredevil knew the risks. The place was swarming with infected zombies, mindlessly wandering the halls, and yet, despite everything, inside of him screaming for him to stop, he pushed forward. The night was dark as Daredevil, now struggling to control the primal urges of the infection, stealthily made his way toward the facility. His senses, still sharp despite his deteriorating condition, guided him through the zombie-infested halls. Every movement felt like a battle as the hunger clawed at him, urging him to break down the doors and feast. But just when it seemed like he might lose himself, the sound of Claire's voice echoed in his mind. "You can fight this, Matt. You're not just a weapon of justice. You're more than that." With that thought in his mind, Daredevil focused, ignoring the growing darkness within. He was close, so close. He burst through the final door to find a lab filled with vials of the antidote, but before he could reach them, a horde of zombies closed in, their grotesque forms surrounding him. The hunger rose again, threatening to take over. His senses screamed for him to rip and tear, but Matt fought it. This was his fight, not theirs. With a newfound resolve, Daredevil fought through the horde with relentless precision. His body moved like a machine, fighting off the zombies as his enhanced senses guided every strike. He had to reach the antidote. He had to save the city. The climax of the battle was intense. Each blow dealt with a zombie was a step toward reclaiming his humanity. And when he finally reached the antidote, he injected himself with it, feeling a cold rush sweep through his body. As the antidote worked its magic, Matt could feel the infection receding. His senses returned to normal, and the hunger no longer. An all-consuming beast faded away. The fog lifted from his mind. He was himself again. He collapsed to his knees, exhausted but alive. Claire rushed to his side, her face full of relief. Foggy stood nearby, grinning like a fool. "You did it, Matt," Claire said with a smile. "You saved yourself." Matt's voice was hoarse, but he smiled back. "We saved Hell's Kitchen." And with that, the city that had nearly fallen to the undead found its protector once again. The outbreak was contained, the cure spread, and the city began to rebuild. Daredevil had fought his worst enemy, himself, and emerged victorious.